Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to Match 2 of Achieve Jaguar, also known as, what is it? Big Brian, what kind of name is that? It's Achieve Jaguar. He's taking on Farmsletje. This is the Legend of the Stars 2017 Championships. We're on day 1. All the players are in a round robin. They are trying to score enough points to get through to tomorrow's elimination tournament, which has the main prize of $500 dues and a fantastic glass trophy. So we have just watched the first game go down. That was on Badlands. We have got these guys taking another crack at each other. This time it's going to be on White Fire. So let's head on through, see who's going to claim those points. There we go. And here we have it. White Fire. This is a very old map, and these guys should be well practiced on it. And we can see a bit of banter there. Initially, may the best T3 mechs win. Just a little bit of a reflection on that last game where they went absolutely bonkers on those economies, just about reaching 800 mass per tick for Farmsletje before he was interceded by Achieved Jaguar. Anyway, let's go and have a look at what they're going to do this time. So we have got Farmsletje. He is in the top right corner. He's going to go UEF. He's going to get that first land factory down. We can see a second air factory is planned and a whole stack of power. Why so much power, you might ask? That is because, wow, what is this? 3,848 mass right there on your doorstep. So that is going to be reclaimed, and these guys are going to have to pull up as much power as they can to make it work. Down on the bottom left, we can see Achieved Jaguar is going to opt for the Cybran faction this time around. He's going to get that first land factory out and just a couple of power generators. It looks like he's going to opt more for putting those mass extractors down than worrying too much about the power at this early stage. We can see definitely not as many power generators as Farmsletje has planned. That could stand to hurt him a little bit in the midterm when he is running out of power. Actually, it's probably not that far away because this engineer is just about ready to start pulling in the reclaim. And there we go. Huge amounts of mass coming your way. Let's just have a quick look at how well Achieved is going to be able to handle that, because remember, these are our pros. These are the best players in the world for 2017 Forged Alliance Forever. So we're going to expect them to be absolutely on the ball in terms of pausing the reclaim from those engineers and making sure they've got enough power to spend all of that mass. So we'll have a big strike against the Chief Jaguar's name if he's in this championship and he's overflowing mass. That is a cardinal sin, and there we go. Well done to him. We don't have to berate him any further because he did stop that engineer reclaiming after he filled up that mass bar, and he's continued on to the island, and aptly enough, he's actually going to go and grab that hydro. That's going to help him out with his power situation even more. He is still bottlenecking, well, about to bottleneck. He is at minus 19 energy with his build pattern right now, and it's just cranking down a little bit, but he should have enough to get everything underway as long as he hurries up and gets a few more power generators down. I think he needs to, oh, there we go, he's asking for E. This is where the 1 versus team games difference comes in. He's got no one to hand him some energy, so he is going to bottom out on that and have to get a little bit of a boost from some reclaim to finish off that build queue, and that is exactly what he's doing. He's got it sorted now, 700 power in the bank. He went down to the local electronics store and got a battery backup just to get himself over the line. Alright, let's go back to Observer and see how Farmsletje is looking over here. That is a nice big stack of power generators. He is looking very happy there, and this is a good build queue of naval factories. He will be in the water very soon. He's got 1 completed, but Achieved actually has got 2, and a third one is underway. It will come down to who can spam the most frigates, because this is a very Navy-centric map. The only caveat to that is when you've got hover spam, but fortunately we have neither Aeon nor Seraphim in this matchup, so we're actually not going to see any Zoes or Auroras trundling across the map, being all annoying and getting up in the other player's business. So it is going to be a little bit more traditional. The naval fight will be left to ships for the most part. And there may be a bit of air engagement as well. It looks like Farmsletje was trying to shut down any air that was coming in from there. He's in search of a bomber. It's tracked on up to the left here. A Chief Jaguar just trying to keep it safe. Meanwhile, the frigate just warding off that interceptor. Not doing a huge amount of damage, but still making Farmsletje get out of there. And that leaves that bomber unimpeded to come across and try to pick up some targets. With Achieved already having scouted over the top, I wouldn't be surprised if the target was already laid down and that engineer was about to face some very bad times. There we go. Is this going to get dodged? It is not being reacted to by Farmsletje. The bomb is a direct hit. That was way too late a reaction there from Farmsletje, and the engineer goes down. We do have a transport for Farms. What is he doing with that? It looks like he's just going to head across to the left. Maybe look at trying to secure that expansion a bit more, but he does have to watch out for the interceptor, and if he lands those engineers, the bomber will be right on top of him as well, so he needs to get in there with the interceptor, which he has managed, and the interceptor takes out the bomber. He is now safe to land those engineers. That's exactly what he's doing. Finally, well, no, actually just a single engineer, hoping he can keep that transport alive, and that he does. Nicely played there from Farms. So he keeps the transport alive, he gets an engineer down to continue where the last one was destroyed, and he's still got a couple left over to head on over to that expansion on the far left. He's also brought a bomber down to the bottom right, looking for any engineers that he can pick up from Achieved, who would be trying to expand into that area, but Achieved, playing it a little bit too clever. You can't have your engineers bombed if you don't have any engineers, so he will not lose anything over in that corner. But there is an engie here that could be taken out if Farms can get a beat on it. The interceptor fight is happening right over the top of a Chief Jaguar's frigate, so that is no good at all for Farmsletje. He's lost all of those interceptors, making very little gain in the way of hurting a Chief Jaguar's air force. That is a very dominant airplay from Achieved. He's definitely got control of the skies right now. So it's going to be a little bit of a stretch for Farms to get the power to be able to really compete in the air game. We can see a big long line of power generators going down from him, so he will hopefully have enough to run those two factories. We can see a third factory going down as well as a reaction to losing that air fight. How is Achieved going over here? Well, he has got 3 air factories already up and running, which might have something to do with his air dominance just at the moment. We have got interesting engineer play out from Farms. There is no reclaim, so he is probably thinking about putting his sonar down in the middle there, but that's not going to do too well when there are so many enemy frigates in the vicinity. That is certainly not going to be safe. I do wonder what his plan is going to be there. Actually, he's got an attack move from this engineer as well. Did he think there was some reclaim to pick up? I'm really not spotting any at all. Right, we've got a naval engagement happening. Farms has got the greater number of frigates, but if you dribble them in one at a time, you're not going to have a good day. So he is going to have to reform those guys and come back for another shot. This time it looks like he's managed to drag the air fight over the top of Farmsletje's frigates, and that's going to start to lay down a whole lot of hurt onto those blue interceptors. And that's going to be good for Farms, just help him get into the air game a little bit. But he wants to try and bring these frigates all into a tightly packed group and come and do some damage to this navy. At the moment, there's no real clear way that that would go. It would depend very much on the micro and whether a Chief Jaguar can combine these two groups of frigates and get slightly superior numbers, and what Farms does with his frigates. Over on the right hand side though, Achieved has been raiding. We can see an empty mass extractor position there. Farms redirecting a few of those frigates to just chase these guys away. The engineer, actually no, there's nothing being built, nothing going on out there. It is just a waste of time. So he is going to trundle all the way back to the island and hopefully not die. That will be the plan for him. This is a very nicely tight packed group of frigates there for Farms. If he can go into combat like that, he will have a bit of an advantage, but not given the state of the frigate counts right now. Look how many frigates are online for Achieved Jaguar over there. Farmsletje's split into two groups, with these four over here enjoying a little bit of naval superiority right in this part of the ocean, but that's not going to do him much good. He really would want to try to deny this reclaim. There's only 600 left though, so Achieved Jaguar just about pulling the entire thing up. Farmsletje has already completed pulling all of that second wreckage in, so he's already taking care of that. And Achieved only just now getting into this bottom right hand corner. That's a very, very slow expansion. Farmsletje has used that transport. He's been in this top left corner for a long time, well established, and got a lot of eco out of it. But what is this? This is an attack on the naval facilities here, trying to get in there. They might just be able to reach that mass extractor if they're lucky, and that's actually on upgrade as well, so that will be a very painful thing for Farmsletje to lose. There is about a third of the mass towards a Tech 2 extractor, which, oh, so close to being destroyed, but unfortunately Achieved did not see that that was happening, and he's left it alone, so that will save it. If that upgrade completes, then the full HP for the Tech 2 mass extractor will come into force. So you really want to catch those mass extractors while they're upgrading, so they have the HP of a Tech 1 extractor while they have the mass investment by your opponent of a Tech 2. Farm's managing to congregate his frigates in the middle now. He still looks like he's slightly down on frigate count. Let's have a quick look at what they're doing. We have got 20 frigates for Farmsletje, and on Achieved Jaguar's side we have got 21. So they are actually very, very even. They're just a lot more tightly packed for Farmsletje. And it looks like these 6 frigates from Achieved looking at having another go at the naval facilities in there for Farms, but thinking twice about it given this massive swarm of frigates that is ready to pounce on them. So this is a nice play from Farms. If he puts the frigates in the middle, he can respond either way. The only problem with that is he can't respond both ways at once, and while those frigates are distracted, Achieved Jaguar is going to take the opportunity to get on in here. Well, actually, no, he's going to stop. That is not what you want to do. He needs to be pushing on up and doing as much damage as he can while he has this navy distracted over the right-hand side. He will lose all of those frigates, but he could push in and do some damage. It looks like he has failed to capitalize on that opportunity. Perhaps he's not got particularly great intel of what is in the bay for Farmsletje, and he's a little bit cautious about what to do. But he does have his Tech 2 naval facility online. We can see a Barracuda out there for Achieved Jaguar. Very heavy assistance on this naval factory. That's going to be spitting those Tech 2 units out. We can see there's already one down here as well, so it looks like just the 2 Barracudas so far, but that will be quite hard for the UEF Navy to counter, because UEF is very not strong at torpedo damage with its destroyers and submarines at the Tech 2 stage, so he will have to rely on Coopers to try and counter that torpedo threat from those Barracudas. And the frigates will have to be continued to be spammed out just to try and keep that naval count up. What have we got? A torpedo bomber, so we've got that Tech 2 air response from Farmsletje. That's a nice move. He will be able to come in here. He has got pretty good control of the skies over his side of the map at the moment. But if push came to shove, let's just have a quick look at how those interceptor swarms are looking. 33 for Farms, and down there in the blue we have got 36. So again, very even. That would come down to who has the best micro. So a couple of those torpedo bombers floating around the skies now, just trying to lay down some hurt on those Barracudas. In come the frigates for some added AA firepower, doing a little bit of damage to that torpedo bomber each pass. Probably Farms wants to get a couple more torp bombers and apply them all at once to the same target, just to be able to try and kill them in one pass, maybe 2, but you definitely don't want to be going backwards and forth over the top of a huge swarm of frigates like that. The interceptor's not even needed from Achieved Jaguar. They are going to take care of that torp bomber. Alright, we do have the Tech 2 Navy online for Farmsletje. He is pumping out destroyers. There's one down here. I think it is just the one so far for him. So a slight disadvantage in Tech 2 naval unit count. But here we go, the air fight has been forced, and Farms looks to be in a very bad turn there. He's taking a lot of fire in the back without managing to do a whole lot, but a couple of good turns makes up for it, and he comes away with the air win and forces a Chief Jaguar off with just a handful of interceptors left. But Farms won't be able to chase him down because there's just way too much AA coming from those frigates, keeping those interceptors away. But no, he's going to brave it anyway. He's going to head right over the top. That is not the best idea. He's going to sacrifice a huge number of interceptors to get just a single pass at those inties from Achieved. He does manage to clear it out, but at what cost? Look at all the fire going up into those inties. They are taking an awful lot of damage, but this does mean that the inties are completely wiped out, and that distraction on the air front has allowed for this drop of Lobos to come on in. And look at those guys. They need to separate out a little bit so that they can't all get taken out by just one bombing run, but a very quick series of volleys from the Lobos doing a huge amount of damage to those Tech 2 mass extractors. One goes down, one is absolutely critical, and one is down into the yellow. The destroyers, though, having a field day with Lobo kills. They take down a second mass extractor. Can they have enough fire away? It looks like they are just one round short. Oh, that is extremely sad to see for Farmsletje. Just a single extra round from one Lobo would have finished off that mass extractor, but that means that Farmsletje is sitting on 102 mass per tick to the 75 of Achieved Jaguar. Just a little bit of a leg up in terms of eco, given that very lovely drop that we just witnessed. Achieved is looking quite strong in the Navy over this right-hand side of the map. Farms is backed up right into his bay. He's got a couple of destroyers in there, but they just don't have the range of the Salems that are going to be popping out. We did see some Salems over in the bay there, but they are still quite a distance from joining this fight. So the destroyers for Farmsletje will be very, very welcome in the interim until those Salems come into play. Where are those destroyers? Well, they're lagging in the back of the pack by the looks of it. They will not be able to reach. And what is Farmsletje doing? Continuing to have air engagements over the top of huge swarms of frigates. That is not the best idea. And he's still using torpedo bombers to try and hurt those submarines. That is his best option that he feels right now to deal with the torpedo damage, just given the lack of torpedo possibilities that he has with UEF. Do we have any Coopers in the mix? It looks like he either dislikes Coopers or he's decided that they are not worth building, so we are not spotting any Coopers in the T2 naval mix there from Farmsletje. But we can see the Salems are now in range and just piling the damage onto those frigates. Look at that, absolutely brutal. And there's another one up here as well, laying down some damage. That is going very much in Achieved Jaguar's favor. Look at the death of all the frigates. Look at all the reclaim that's left around. And that is going to be very much easy for Achieved Jaguar to pick up compared to Farmsletje. They've both got engineers in the area, but look at the naval presence that is still there. Those two Salems have a huge, wide berth of denial that they are going to push all of these frigates and a couple of destroyers back up into the base of Farmsletje. Very hard pressed to make any forward movement with that navy. They just get absolutely pummeled by Salems and Barracudas, and a few frigates just for good measure as well, as soon as they pop their heads out of the bay. So Farms is backing right on up. He's trying to get to safety, but this is doing nothing but leaving a huge field of reclaim for Achieved Jaguar to pick up. Let's have a quick look at the reclaim figures. They're actually surprisingly even. Farmsletje on 22,000 and 20,000 to Achieved. So in total, there is about an 8,000 mass advantage to Achieved Jaguar at the moment. That's interesting. So he is doing quite well. Overall, a bit more mass to pump into that navy. The navy is very, very heavy on the mass front. But what is this? There's a small raid here. We have had another drop from Farmsletje getting in here and doing a whole lot of clearing of that island. And we have some frigates in here trying to take up the build power around this Tech 2 factory, but there is a Salem out now, which is going to very quickly mop those up. I wonder if that Tech 2 factory is within range of the shoreline. I wonder if a stack of Lobos landed on the shore will actually be able to do it. Now that transport there, very, very critical health. It's probably going to go down before it can get its drop away. It's exactly what happens. The superior numbers for Farmsletje in the air not able to count for anything, and that transport is denied. And that is a little bit less damage that Achieved is going to have to suffer. So these guys sitting on 99 mass per tick for Farms and 63 for Achieved Jaguar. This Navy in the middle, though, that's still a real concern for Farmsletje. There is a lot of Salems in there. That's very difficult for him to deal with. So in go the torpedo bombers. They'll get one pass, but that is going to be all she wrote because they are shot down very, very quickly. It looks like a little bit of a mistimed torpedo run there from Farmsletje. A second squad of torp bombers rocking up a little bit late to the party. He's going to turn those around and back on up out of there. Otherwise, they will get shot for absolutely no gain as well. But here we go. There's a more appropriate target. There is a lone Barracuda. It has got nothing to defend it, and one pass from those bombers is going to absolutely wipe that thing off the face of, I was going to say the Earth, but it's not Earth. It is White Fire. I don't know if that's the name of the planet. But what is this? Tactical missile upgrade. Will the cheese never end? No, it will not end. He is going to get the attack upgrade on that ACU. What is the range of that? Let's have a quick look from his perspective. We can see that is how far it is. So if he pops out into the water a bit more, he will be in range of some of those Tech 2 mass extractors. But that's going to be a very, very risky play because this is a huge Navy with quite a bit of torpedo damage coming off the Salems. And there's probably still a few Barracudas in that mix. Do we see any Barracudas? No, it looks like it's entirely switched over to Salem production now. But still, Salems have got a pretty heavy amount of torpedo damage. You do not want your ACU anywhere near that. And what is this? He's walking towards the Salem fire. This is insane. He is going to have to be ridiculously careful with that ACU before he gets torpedoed or shot to pieces. Those Salems, they will absolutely trap and destroy an ACU. There is absolutely no contest at all. They will torpedo it when it's in the water. They will shell it when it is on the land. There is no escape if you cannot get out of range of the Salem, and there is nowhere to hide on this map. We are seeing some bulwarks as well. That's a nice move from Farmsletje, making use of those Tech 2 naval shield boats. That'll give just a little bit more HP and longevity to his Navy, but his Navy is looking very thin on the ground. How many destroyers has he got in that pack? I will just give a quick count up. He does actually have 6 destroyers, and how many Salems have we got? Just a couple of Salems. Wow, that is a very nice play from Farmsletje, because those Valiant class destroyers have got a huge amount of damage, but they've got a lower range. If they can get in close enough to the Salems, they will be absolutely fine, but if they can't get close enough, they will be dead. If they can get in, they can kill that Salem, but there's still a whole lot of frigates around. Farmsletje has just about run out of frigates. He's got some more reinforcements coming in from that side. There is very even numbers. Just, I think the advantage might just be over to Farmsletje with the extra couple of Valiant class destroyers that he has got mixed in there. There we go. He has finally started to make some headway. Down goes the one of the Salems. The other one is just about to go. There we go. And that is the end of the Tech 2 Navy from Achieved Jaguar. So that's a little bit of an interesting turn of events. The Tech 2 UEF Navy has triumphed over the Cybran. That will be very, very welcome to hear for all the UEF fans out there, and that is going to start making its way into the production facilities for Achieved Jaguar. So now he is facing a very strong amount of firepower right up in his base. That's not a good place to be. And we can see, just for added bonus points, Farmsletje is making use of that TAC missile upgrade. We can see the missiles away, just heading down towards these Tech 2 mass extractors. I wonder if it was a bit of an accident that he has done so well here. I feel like he might have pressed hard with his Navy just to give his commander some breathing room so that he could use that tactical missile launcher. But as it turns out, it has turned into a complete naval win for Farmsletje, and that is going to probably win him the game. But we do have a little drop up here. So Chief Jaguar not done yet. He's going to try and drop a few Mantis by the looks of it. Over on this island there are a whole lot of Lobos, so if the Mantis are not moving very quickly as soon as they hit the ground, actually it's just Hunters, it's not even Mantis, just Hunters. They do get moving though, so they will be able to dodge most of the Lobo fire. At least 4 of them do survive, but they are going to have to keep on dodging. As soon as the Chief Jaguar stops with the micro, they will get shelled into oblivion. Okay, we have got torpedo bombers against the ACU now, and that is going to finish it off. That is just one more pass away from absolute death and destruction. And there we go. The torpedo bombers are going to end this game. Not quite as much cheese as we saw last time, but still that is a win for Farmsletje. Alright, and that is the last match of that. It is a best of 3, so of course 2 wins to Farmsletje means that he takes away the points, he goes away laughing, and unfortunately Achieved Jaguar is going to have to find someone else to try and farm for points if he wants to get through to the finals. Alright, that is going to be it for Farmsletje versus Achieved Jaguar. Let's wrap this one up and head on into the next matchup.